Should I start this video off with a trigger warning? I probably should. So here's the trigger warning. If the United States real estate market has made you very sad lately, then you may want to click away from this video. There's your warning. So here's my story very quickly. So a couple of weeks ago, I decided to put in an offer on a house. This house, by the way, was what I thought totally perfect for me, or at least mostly perfect for me. It had everything I wanted, and it was close enough to where I wanted to be in town, and it was in budget. It was the only house that had almost everything I wanted that was also in budget. So I put in an offer. The first offer was too low. My realtor came back and advised me to put in another offer. So I put in another offer that was about $6,000 or so more dollars higher. When I did that offer, I also wrote a letter and I made a YouTube video for the seller to be able to read and kind of get to know me and hopefully, choose me. Spoiler alert, I was not chosen. I was outbid, and of course, in this economy and in this matrix that we're in, money talks, and well-meaning YouTubers can walk unless they have some money too. So I was outbid for the house. So this process really helped me, even though I lost out on the house, the process really helped me to understand how I have a very, very poor relationship with the emotion of disappointment. And I'm going to tell you about that. So before I even bid on the house, I felt an overwhelming sense of fear to even put in an offer on a house. I thought it would be a good time for me to put in an offer on a house to find a house. But when I started the process, and even before I started the process, I noticed that I was just overwhelmed with fear and anxiety. I was having nightmares about putting in an offer on a house. I was just an anxious wreck to the point where I have not enjoyed house hunting at all. It's not fun like I thought it was going to be. So over time, I started to kind of wonder, like, Nicole, where is this fear coming from? Like, you have saved up money, you've been pre-qualified, you have your stuff together. Why are you so afraid of just, buying a house? I don't have commitment issues. I didn't have anything that was immediately coming to mind that would explain why I was so terrified to even put in an offer on a house. But after I put in the offer, I started to do some journaling. So kind of force my way through the fear to put in the offer on the house. And I started to do some journaling to try to figure out, what was the underlying reason why I was so fearful. And I said some prayers, I pulled some tarot cards and stuff, but I swear, I was just driving down the street one day and it came to me. It was just like a divine smack in the face. Who knew? The reason why I was so afraid to put in an offer on a house and why this whole thing just has really not been fun. It's been just a very fearful and anxiety-ridden experience, basically. The reason why is because I have associated really wanting to live somewhere or really loving the place that I live with the emotion of disappointment and with loss, LOSS. That was a big thing to realize. So I started, when that realization came to me when that came to me, I started to think whoa, where does that come from? But pretty quickly, I have memories. I could go back and kind of trace my way from how I feel now, being very fearful in the market, to several other times when a place that I really loved didn't work out for one reason or another. So when I was a kid, my family went through a hard time and we lost the house that I spent several years of my childhood in. And it was a very sad experience for all of us, really, and the circumstances were really sad. And I think I've repressed a lot of how I felt back then, but I still have that sense of like loss. Like things can just happen and you have to move, or you don't have the place where you lived before, and it's just gone. So that was one time. Another time, I was with a partner and I was cohabitating with that partner. And when we broke up, we both moved out of this house that I loved so much. I loved it so much. And that house was very, very special to me because even though I went through a lot of grief and heartache and stuff in that house, I feel like I really started my mental health and just spiritual wellness journey in that house as I was being sad and grieving and going through all of the external things that I was going through. So that house represented to me like a safe place where I was able to fall apart, basically. And when we broke up, I was not able to continue to pay for that house alone, so we both moved out. It was very sad for me. Another time, this was kind of in between these previous two stories, but another time, pretty much I've had two apartments in Houston that I just absolutely loved. Three apartments in Houston that I absolutely loved. One, I could not afford it. I was supposed to live with another partner and things didn't work out, and I struggled to afford it until the lease was up, and then I left. And that apartment was supposed to be kind of like for both of us, and it ended up being just for me. Another time, I had a really cute apartment that I could comfortably afford, but it became infested with rats. And the management did the shoddiest work possible to close up the holes. There were literal holes under my kitchen cabinets that I didn't know about when I moved in, and rats came in and ate my chocolate bar and some of my cereal. These were high-class rats. But anyway, I love that apartment, but I had to move because me, rats, not friends. And I did not have a cat at that time. The last time I had an apartment that I just absolutely loved, it was a loft, and it just felt magical there. The building was old and creepy, and like when you walk through the house, you could feel presences, like you could literally feel people behind you that you couldn't see, if you know what I'm saying. And I loved it. I love that creepy stuff. I loved it. And I moved into this loft, and I liked it so much that this was one of the only places I've ever lived where I immediately unpacked all of my stuff and put the boxes out for recycling, because I felt like, oh, I'm here. This is where I live. I'm home. And within a week of me living there, I was on the first floor. There were some people down the hall that were targeted for a robbery, according to their story and according to the police's story. And so those people, it was some shady stuff going on, but those people were robbed. And as the robbers were leaving, guess whose apartment was right a couple of doors down and right by the exit to make it easy for them to get away? Mine. I have not lived on the first floor or near the exit since then. But I came home, my door had been kicked in. The robbers took several of my electronic things and a couple of heirloom type things from my uncle who had somewhat recently passed away. And shout out to HPD because they actually did get back my electronics because the robbers just pawned them immediately at the nearest pawn shop. But they never got back the heirloom things that I lost. But that's, it's okay. But I was just really heartbroken because, again, in that situation, that was something beyond my control. I'm thankful that I wasn't there. And, that I wasn't physically harmed, but I didn't feel safe anymore. And I actually moved out of that apartment a couple of days later. I never even slept in that apartment again. I was so afraid. So when I realized that I have this really strong association with loss and places that I live, that broke my heart. I broke my own heart, basically. And also it helped me to understand why I just was almost separated from feelings of excitement about the house that I really wanted, that I bid on. Because when I first viewed the house and I saw it, and I was leaving, I felt excitement. I was so excited that it felt almost unnatural to me because I have spent a lot of my adult life kind of disassociating from the feeling of excitement in an attempt to protect my future self when things don't go the way that I hope they go. And I was actually so afraid to be feeling the level of excitement that I felt that I called a friend that I knew would help bring me back down from the excitement in a practical way. And I thank this person for what they told me, because what they told me actually helped me to navigate the home buying process. But I knew in my head that, okay, if I call this person, they will help me to get off of this cloud of excitement. But why would I do that to myself? Because I am afraid to be excited about something, because so many different times in my life, not just with real estate and apartments, but so many different times in my life when I have been excited, something doesn't work out. And the other day I was telling my mother, I was talking to her about this, and I was just like, I just need something to work out. I just need it to be smooth. Just for God's sake, can something just work out? Can something just be easy for once? Please. Oh my God. And I realized that since a lot of things that I've, tried to do or wanted or worked for or whatever, since so many things haven't worked out and things don't ever just feel smooth or easy, I'm now in this mindset of very, very strong protection mode all the time. Trying to protect my heart, trying to protect myself, trying to make sure that I do as best I can to control situations or avoid situations so I can avoid being hurt and disappointed yet again. And that is kind of a bummer. That is a really sad feeling. That's a sad thing to come to terms with. But I'm glad that I went through the experience of getting outbid for the house, because I have had this opportunity to grow and learn more about myself learn about my relationship with fear and disappointment. And so I just wanted to talk to the camera and tell somebody, because hopefully there's other people out there who understand what I'm saying. Right now I feel pretty alone in this feeling, but I know that there are other people out there who understand how this feels. So if you know what I'm talking about, how I feel, what's going on, and you want to tell me your story, I would love to hear it. Comment down below. I would love to hear from you. Usually these videos end with some like, these are the tips that you can use to solve this mental health problem, or this is what you can do to solve this. But in this video, I don't have that for you because I don't have it for myself. But I think my therapist would tell me that becoming aware of what's going on is the first step, and then the other steps, they come, they're easier, but the awareness is very important. So at least I'm aware of what's going on in my little sad heart at this time, and I'm aware now of how I have tried to protect myself. So now hopefully I can move forward and be more open-hearted, because life just can't be about living in some box that I make for myself where I'm just always protected. That's not the life that I want for myself. And maybe that's not the life you want for yourself. So even though this video was a bit sad, maybe I hope that you enjoyed it, and I hope that you like, share, comment, and subscribe. I'm a YouTuber, I have to say that part. But I would love to hear, if you have any similar experiences, share them with me so I can feel less alone. And so I can, kind of reach out to you metaphorically through the internet. We can hold hands, because I think I might need it. Until next time, I love you. I will see you in the next one. Take care. Bye.